Welcome back to part 2 of the DCU Slate. We're going to get into the second half of the slate and jump right into it with our thoughts, hopes, and theories. First up, we have AQUAMAN. Will be coming out July 27th in 2018. This movie is directed by James Wan, who has done Insidious 1 and 2, has done Saw, the original, Conjuring. He's done Conjuring 2 coming up. He did Furious 7. It's been written by David Johnson, who is best known from writing The Orphan, and Kurt Johnstad, who wrote 300 and the sequel to 300, Empire, with director Zack Snyder. Jason Momoa will be starring as Arthur Curry, Aquaman, and Amber Heard will be Mira. Sal, what are you thinking about this movie, Her? And first off, the choice with James Wan, who is a very hot, young, up-and-coming director, but made his name in the horror genre. He stepped out and did Furious 7, which was a huge hit. I haven't seen any Fast and Furious movie past 2, but it made a lot of money. So what do you think about getting him to do Aquaman?
Well, he just had an interview at WonderCon this past weekend. It was just like a comic book convention. And he was just talking about how he likes to have fun with any movie he makes. And he said outright that Aquaman's going to be lighter than BVS is. Mm-hmm. And I think every other movie is going to be lighter than BVS was. But this one specifically is going to be lighter. And he was talking about, even though I do these horror movies, that he always has fun with them, and he always, in some way or shape or form, they're a little bit more on the lighter side of things. Now, I've seen Insidious and it scared the crap out of me, so I don't know what the hell he's talking about there.
He's sick.
But yeah, he's a sick man. But I guess I can see where he's talking about a little bit. They're not straight, like, dark, insane, emotionally dark horror movies, if that makes sense. Conjuring and Insidious and Saw, for that matter. But, it's going to be, I don't know how to gauge Aquaman. Obviously, I know what kind of Aquaman they're going for. They're not going to go for the 50 spick and span, Aqua guy. But what I'm more interested about seeing is how and where Aquaman's going to be in terms of the storyline and in terms of his own character. So, like, in the newer comics, he has been Aquaman for some time, and he's kind of grown old to the whole Aquaman hero thing, where he's like, people don't take me seriously and stuff like that, and he's kind of just used to it. And so, obviously, I don't think we're going to be ripping straight from that kind of character, but it's just going to be, interesting to see. I think DC is putting a lot of their eggs in this basket for this character. I think he's going to play a very important role in terms of his strength as a superhero. He's just as strong as Superman, I think. So I think that's really going to be showcased, because a lot of people don't know about Aquaman, and a lot of people do make fun of him. So I think they're going to take a new spin on it, and I think he's going to be very important. So.
Yes, sir. I like Momoa. I think it's a great casting for Aquaman. I'm not really sure what they're gonna do with this movie again. Just as far as the overall story. But I was excited about Momoa from day one. He's big from Game of Thrones or whatever. He also did Conan the Barbarian. And he has that look, big physical warrior look. And so I think it was a great casting. My theory would have to be that it takes place in Atlantis.
Yeah.
So
you think it's going to be that sort of like he's torn between the land and the sea kind of thing?
From the looks of it, it seems like like you said, he's been Aquaman though. Mm-hmm. Like, the footage we saw in Batman vs Superman, he has the trident, he has the armor and all that.
People obviously know that he is the leader, or whoever's security footage, that Lex's security footage.
Yeah.
So they are looking specifically for Aquaman.
Yeah, so I think he's already the king of Atlantis and everything. So I think this would have to be some smaller. I probably would guess is some type of potential coup within his ranks of I forgot the character's name, but it's some guy that.
Master.
I don't
What are you
know.
talking about?
I don't know if that. I don't really remember his name at all, but like I know there's someone that like thinks he should be king because it was like during Justice League I saw it, but it was some storyline they had where like he was trying to overthrow Aquaman. It might be, but I think we might get something like that where what's that, Black Manta and like stuff like that, where they might be trying to overthrow him, and so something more close to home in Atlantis.
Yeah,
and
in her fight.
yeah, so I think that's kind of where they're going. But overall, I kind of feel like the DCU. I feel like there's gonna be a lot more crossover, and so I really hope that we get some crossover from one of the other characters, whether it's Superman or Batman or whoever, and that it's not just solely, because you want it to be a standalone from the overall story, but I don't want to get it too far away.
Yeah.
And with Atlantis, it's easy to do that, to like just completely remove this movie from the arc and make you feel like it's a solo standalone thing. But I like to see a Batman or someone, or Wonder Woman, whoever it is. I don't know. But one thing I like is that a lot of the Aquaman that they went with is not the typical Aquaman. First of all, who they cast is not the typical Aquaman. They got someone that's ethnic, and they playing a lot to his heritage with the costume design and everything. If you notice that tattoo on his arm, the bracelet that he wears for Aquaman is basically his tattoo.
Okay.
Like, it's designed after his tattoo, and so I like that they didn't like force him into anything. He's Polynesian, and he felt he connected with this character with their faith in water gods and stuff like that. So a lot of the stuff that they're doing with him is connected to Momoa's heritage. So I think he's gonna be a perfect Aquaman. I'm not sure what they're going to do with the movie though, but like I said, I just hope that we get some crossover and it's not too removed from the world.
Yeah.
All right, so next up, one of my favorite heroes. We're talking about SHAZAM movie. This is due out April 5th, 2019. The writer right now is going to be Bill Birch, who is actually a first-time writer. He is actually an actor. So he'll be writing for the first time. But alongside him, you'll have Jeff Johns, who, of course, is one of the creative force behind the DCU. And Darren Lemicki, who wrote Turbo, Goosebumps. He also wrote the Flashpoint movie. And he wrote Jack the Giant Slayer and Shrek 4. Starring Dwayne Johnson. The only person we have confirmed right now is Black Adam. Now, I kind of want to go back to the Lemicki character. It's interesting the things that he's written. A lot of family movies, and so you that Shazam as a character is half kid and half immortal or whatever he calls himself. But it's going to be a lighter, funny tone.
Yeah.
And so it makes sense on one hand that they got a guy that's done a lot of family movies, but then you look at his resume and you see the Flashpoint.
Yeah.
And a movie that I love to death, a comic I know you love. So that automatically gives him credibility. The one writer that is a first-time writer, I don't know what that's about, but that's what we have now. And no director of us now. But what do you think about the writing team so far?
I mean, you have Jeff Johns on board as well, so you're going to have that true comic book person on the team. So, if these guys are kind of going off course a little, he can wrangle them in. But I think he's going to kind of take a little bit of a step back. I think he's going to give them more so of the outline of what they are looking for, and then he's going to kind of let them have, do what they do. I think this Shazam movie is basically the answer to Ant-Man, in terms of Marvel, at least.
What do you mean by that?
I just think that this is what that character is in terms of,
the comedy movie.
The more comedy movie, yeah. Okay. I mean, and maybe not the answer to Ant-Man, but that's what I think its comparison is. Dwayne Johnson is Black Adam.
Sick.
Yeah, that's. I mean, who else are you gonna get up for Black Adam? Come on, that's awesome. But I know one thing you wanted to bring up was Dwayne Johnson. It might be there's kind of a rumor that he might play Shazam as well, which originally I was like, no, not at all. I don't want that, and I still don't really. I'm not a huge fan on the CGI double person, twin person like Tom Hardy in that one movie.
Legend. I
didn't see it. I didn't see it, and it could be a good movie. I just don't like that whole CGI thing. I'm not a fan of it. This is a comic book movie, so maybe it might work a little bit better. And the Rock could do great as Shazam. He's a funny guy, so he could do good. But I'm still just not on board for that. So whoever they have as Shazam has to be physically appealing, along with having a good sense of humor. So Channing Tatum, I thought would have done well, but he's Gambit. So I don't know.
I mean, yeah, so I kind of want to get into some fan casting. What do you, well, let me first go back and say my thoughts. I, too, was not on board of the whole idea of him playing both. I was just like, no, I don't see that.
Yeah.
But now that I think about it more, and I think it also has to deal with seeing The Rock and more stuff, I'm warming up to the idea. I mean, logistically, it made sense the whole time, because Shazam and Black Adam come from the same power that turns them into a different being. It's very easy to just say it turns you into different versions of this being. You know, The Rock is what you turn into. So you say this word and you turn into The Rock.
Yeah.
But Black Adam, but you know, the personality is still the same. So the Black Adam Rock is very different than Billy Batson's.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, logistically that makes sense. As far as them being in the same room, I mean, we're so far ahead in technology today. I don't get bothered by seeing two of the same.
I don't get bothered that it's bad. Like, a lot of it's good CGI. It's just like, you're like, I don't know. I just get taken out of the movie.
Yeah.
Suspension of disbelief. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah, I could see that. But the good thing about this is that you won't see Black Adam with Shazam a lot of the movie. Like, you know, maybe an early meetup and then the final conflict, but they're not like walking hand to hand the whole movie. It'll be a lot of separate. And so the only reservation I have is The Rock as an actor, but I think it'd be a good chance to show his chops. Like we said, him being Shazam will be easy. You know, he's a kid at heart, you know, but very powerful. That's very charismatic. That's The Rock. Mm-hmm. But then Black Adam will be a chance for us to show a different side, a darker side. And I am very intrigued. Like, that's not my first choice, but if they said that's what we're doing, I would not mind it too much. But you said Channing Tatum kind of fan casting. And that was always the issue with me. And the other reason I kind of like The Rock playing both, because who else do you get? The Rock's too big. He's huge. Who else do you get that, you know?
Well, it's not so much the look. I mean, yes, they historically look the same. But at the same token, you can you have creative control over this. So it doesn't
they don't have to be the exact same, but you can't be like that much smaller than The Rock, like where it's like a real big. I think it'd be weird because Shazam's a big dude.
But I think that would make it even better in terms of this big imposing villain. Mm-hmm. But he's twice as good as you.
Okay, but
you overcome that.
Same. On the same token, you at least have to be as big as Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
Right.
There's people.
That dude's pretty big.
Yeah.
So I mean, all the guys that I know right now.
Henry Cavill. Then let's just get him.
That'd be weird. But I like Daniel Cudmore. That's always been my choice. He's the guy that played Colossus in the X-Men. Only issue with him is like he's getting older. You can tell. And then by the time this movie comes out, like we don't know.
And moving forward.
Yeah, but he's like 6'7", something. You know, and The Rock's like 6'5".
I'm not too worried about looks right now. We'll see.
Yeah,
Oh shit.
God darn it, did it die?
Yeah.
Alright, through the magics of movies, this might look different, but you deal with that. So next up we have Justice League Part 2 coming out June 14th, 2019. Same director, maybe. Zack Snyder coming back and the rest of the Justice League crew. As of now, though, the one thing we kind of talked about before is Chris Terrio mentioned that he's not exactly writing the script at this moment.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that plays out. We kind of talked about what we think is going on there. But if he doesn't write the script, that'll be weird. But as of now, I think he'll end up writing the script. But that's kind of the one story going forward. So I think we need to talk about the big villain. We didn't really get into that. So Batman vs. Superman teased us Darkseid. And I didn't get into this in the review, actually, but I'll say it now. So Lex had the part where he took over the Kryptonian ship, and the archive said we have information on thousands of worlds, and he said, teach me everything. This is how he knows Darkseid. I know a lot of people are like, what in the world's going on? He knows about all this stuff through the archives of the Kryptonian ship. So kind of like Loki. It actually reminded me a lot of that. Loki, I forgot what he used, but it like talking about all these aliens and the planets, and that's how he found Thanos and the Chitauri, and that's how that all happened. So anyway, Lex very similar. He knows all this stuff beyond the planets that all the other heroes don't know. So he signaled Darkseid. We see the Omega symbol, all that. We believe he's the one coming. Do you think this is where we'll have a meetup with Darkseid?
Definitely. I mean, I think it's inevitable. I'm not sure, they might bring in Brainiac as well. But I think if all goes well, they're going to save him for phase 2 of this. So post 2020. Yeah, I mean, there's not much else to say about this besides, yes, I think Darkseid is coming. I think he will be in this movie along with the first movie. Maybe not as much in the first movie. But I think this is going to be... I really think, now that I said it out loud about The Flash, that I think that is what they're going to go with in terms of his movie maybe. Or in maybe these movies where he travels time and space. And, he's going to be a big part in Justice League. So I think this is going to have repercussions of Justice League 1 and Flash, whatever those repercussions may be. And yeah, so let's hope that they save the world.
Yeah, I kind of going back to Justice League 1, I'm theorizing that Superman doesn't return in part 1.
Yeah, I can see that.
I think he's gonna be in flashback memory, whatever you want to use him as. But I don't think he returns to full Superman until part 2. So it's a long time absence for Henry Cavill. And it might not be right because we might get a Man of Steel 2 in the middle of this slate, but at least I think that was the way I would do it. That's kind of my theory right now. I think he shows up when Darkseid shows up. And I'm liking what you're saying. We know Flash goes back in time at some point, but I think for him to go to Apocalypse where Darkseid is going to take Cyborg also.
Yeah,
because he
open
has
up some sort of portal.
He has the power of the boom tube that puts you through dimensions. And so Flash kind of could do that, but I think they're going to use him more as time travel and stuff like that. So with this one, we might have Flash, Cyborg coming back from wherever they end up at, and I think this is where what's his name, Jason Momoa, like fully engages and gets on. So if we have like kind of a sea and land war in the first one, then the standalone Aquaman is more about him struggling with his own people about what he should do, and then this is the one where he finally joins on, and then Superman comes back on top of it, and they really unite the 7, even though it's not 7, but because Green Lantern. Well, and we'll get to this later, but the WB kind of said the earliest to expect Green Lantern is Justice League Part 2.
Okay.
Which, because some people were thinking he's going to cross over and all this other stuff, and he's in part 1. It was like the earliest would be part 2. I don't know if that's going to stay true, but as of now, it would fit that theory then where everybody literally is coming back once they have to fight Darkseid. Anything you looking forward to in this movie in particular?
There's so much. It's 5 years away, 4 years away.
I forgot Justice League freaks you out.
Yeah. There's just way too much to even think about right now.
Alright, so next up is the Cyborg solo movie, April 3rd, 2020. We don't know crap about this movie besides Ray Fisher as Vic Stone and Cyborg. The one thing is that the rumor that came about from McWeenie, I believe, once he started that whole WB scared about this movie, which kind of turned out to be true. Yeah. But he was talking about one of the changes in the lineup was taking Cyborg from Cyborg to Teen Titans. What do you think?
I think that's way too much. That's just, yeah, I can't even. That's way too much, I think. I mean, you can introduce those sidekicks and those secondary characters, but to kind of put a whole movie on them, it's just, see, this is where I don't know where they're going with these solo movies in between this huge story arc. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't want.
Well, this is after Justice League Part 2, so.
Oh yeah, duh. Okay, so.
Now he gets to go be a Teen Titan.
Okay, yeah, let's go do Teen Titans. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just a lot to think about right now. But I wouldn't particularly like this Teen Titans. I'd like maybe if he transitioned after this whole slate into becoming the leader of the Teen Titans. That would be alright with me. But in terms of doing it right now, it's a little much. But again, it is after Justice League Part 2, so we have no idea what the story's gonna look like after that. Maybe he goes into some future and has to get back, or something happens where his whole thing's shut down and he's internally having a battle in some other universe or something.
Wow, you're digging deep there, so.
Yeah, so I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, yeah, I would not like Teen Titans. I don't even like Teen Titans, period. But I think with Cyborg having, from what we know, well, we don't know this, but from what we know from the comics, his powers and technology is going to come from the alien race or someone, most likely Apocalypse and stuff like that, where he has boom tube technology and all that stuff. So that's, if we're talking about Darkseid and everything, he has played a big part in the Justice League storyline. And for him to come across the right way, he's going to have to be like, a tough, powerful character. So if you do that correctly, how are you going to take him and put him with the Teen Titans? Yeah. That's not going to match well. I think Young Justice right now is doing like huge numbers. A lot of people like that. I know you watch that. Mm-hmm. And so I think, like all studios, they're like, okay, that's hot. Let's force that in. And I could dig it if it's more on a, Nightwing and Cyborg and Wally West, Flash and stuff like that. More so than the actual Teen Titans with Robin and all out. So if it's more like Young Titans, Young Adult Titans, I could kind of get with, but I don't know, it's weird. But if you don't go Teen Titans and you just leave it Cyborg, yeah, I don't know what you do with that movie. You definitely, it's 2020. You can't go back to his origin or anything.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So it's just.
He's an interesting character though, because to see that character change within himself would be, I think, a good story. I mean, he goes from 100% human to 75% robot.
And this could be the fallout. Like we said, after Justice League 2, this could be him trying to adjust back to, life. Because after...
Getting a wife and getting a job.
Well, okay, not like that. But, from what it seems like, he turns into Cyborg and pretty quickly it's Justice League recruitment. And so then after all this is over, maybe it's time for him to really evaluate if he wants to be a hero or how does he fit. Kind of like Superman had in Batman vs. Superman. So you probably could do that, but it's tough until you get a director to really kind of gauge where they're going with it. But, and I like theorizing. I like, fan casting and stuff, but I just don't like Cyborg in general, so it's hard to, because it should have been Martian Manhunter. It really should have been. I don't get why the New 52 or why DC is going with Cyborg. So, screw them. Alright, last up in our slate is the Green Lantern Corps, June 19, 2020. Probably one with a a lot of good rumors, a lot of good juicy talk with this one.
Yeah.
Again, we don't know crap about this movie. There's no actors, there's no director, no writer. There's barely a title. They could be making it in the basement. We don't know what's going on with this movie. So we get to speculate. Sal, let's talk about the Green Lantern first of all. My favorite childhood character growing up. We know that it's been removed from the earlier projects because of the failure with Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern. And so they're kind of like, giving it time for the stink to wear off, which I think is...
And what is that, almost 10 years?
I mean, I don't think that's right. I don't personally think that movie was horrible. I think it could have been better, but I think it was good enough to continue. But, it's me. But I'm not a fan of, let's just hold off until people forget about it. No one's going to fit. They can watch it whenever they want. So, it's just do it. Just do a different version. But anyway, it seems as if they're waiting. As I mentioned earlier, WB said the earliest to expect him is Justice League Part 2. So, not the crossover with Flash, not Part 1. Rumors up the butt. We have Dan and Boyer. We talked about this rumor went rampant right before BVS that he's in it and he's Hal Jordan and he's going to be Green Lantern by the end of the movie. And he's listed as a drone pilot. He wasn't even in the movie. So that part got cut. And we have no clue if that's true or not. Then you had Tyrese Gibson, who has been for years going ham on Twitter, posting fan art of him as Green Lantern.
There's some recent news about him, but we'll get to that. So go ahead.
Yeah, and then we had Chris Pine was rumored to be, and I think this one is true, but he met with WB for the part of Steve Trevor in Wonder Woman and for Hal Jordan, and he chose Steve Trevor over Hal Jordan. And so that's kind of the rumor. No one's confirmed it, but I believe that is really credible. So a lot of stuff going on with this movie. Will we see him in Justice League 2? Whatever. Oh, and then the biggest one. So it went from Green Lantern to the Green Lantern Corps.
Yeah.
And it was a whole talk about we're going to focus on multiple Green Lanterns from Earth instead of just one. So now we went from this is New 52 Hal Jordan to it's going to be Jonathan Stewart, Hal Jordan, maybe even Guy Gardner, maybe even more. So go ahead.
Yeah, well, with news with Tyrese, he just recently met with WB. I don't know how recent, maybe a week ago. I'm pretty sure it was with Larry King, I want to say.
Yeah, he was on the Larry King show.
And he didn't say much, but he's like, pray for me, Larry. Because he asked, how close are you to getting the part?
And he asked him if he met with Zack Snyder. He said no. He said, but I met with WB.
Yeah. So, I'm not huge on Tyrese Gibson, just because the only thing I can really base him off of is Fast and Furious, and well, we had to change cameras for the third time today, so
movie magic, man.
So we apologize, but anyways, I was saying that I'm not huge on Tyrese Gibson just because Fast and Furious is all that I have to go off of with him. And in there, it's Fast and Furious, not him as an actor, I don't think. But I'm not, I don't know, I don't think he can bring that much to Green Lantern. Though he is very passionate about it. I'm sure he knows a ton of, source material. And, I think he might be up for it if he does get the part, but we will see. In terms of them having the Green Lantern Corps, that is awesome. I think that's a lot of comic book fans' hopes and dreams for that, because they are a Corps, and historically there are multiple Green Lanterns, not only for Earth, but obviously for the universe, as many of you might have seen in the 2011 iteration of that movie. So in terms of that, yes, I am excited, I guess. I don't know. There's not much to go off of, so.
Yeah, I think you're racist for not liking Tyrese. I'm just joking. But originally, I was not happy at all. I was severely pissed off that they changed it to Green Lantern Corps. I was already pissed off that they didn't put him in BVS and Justice League stuff, and to an extent Shazam too. But it's because the reasoning, and you know, like I said, I think it's just dumb. He's a huge part. It's not like Cyborg. If you made a Cyborg movie and it sucked, then bury him. I don't care. You know, push him back. But this is Green Lantern, one of the most powerful, one of the most recognized. How can you sit here and, you know, push him off to 2020 or 2019 at the earliest? That's ridiculous. But as I sat on it and think about it more, I'm liking the Green Lantern Corps thing more, because I was very traditional at first. Like, no, there's one lantern for Earth. There was two because they thought Hal was dead, and then he came back and Guy Gardner was there. But that was it. Other than that, it's one Green Lantern for Earth. You know, when Jon Stewart showed up, Hal was gone. Like, they weren't there together. So, but I've kind of been rules on it, 'cause I really like ensemble pieces. And so I think if you get, I don't say 4, I almost said 4, but I could take 4, even if you want to get, was it Guy Gardner and some Rayner? What's the other one? I forgot.
Yeah, he has the mask on.
Yeah, like,
Was it Scott Rayner?
Some like
Steve Rayner.
some white guy. I'm just kidding. But if you get like 4 really good actors, and you know, you get Hal Jordan, Guy Gardner, and Jon Stewart, and the other one, I'd be like, okay, I could dig that, and make it, from the description, it's like, okay, these 4 guys or this group of humans, you know, become Green Lanterns or whatever. So it's not that it's simultaneously, or one was already a Lantern and this had it. It's like they recruit all of these guys together. So now it's more like Power Rangers. Maybe that's why I like it. I'm a Power Rangers fan, but they recruit them together, and it's 4 different personalities, 4 different guys. So I'm starting to like that a lot more. I would hope they push this up. I do not want to wait to 2020 for this. I think if you get a strong cast, which is easy to do, then you push this up and fast track it a little more, and not wait to 2020. Because even like Guy Gardner, he's like a funny, like wisecracker guy. Like, you could get some good. And I wish I had more time to fan cast and put together my 4, because I think you could have a great lineup of guys, and it would just be an amazing movie. So I'm warming up to that fact. And like what we heard, it'll be a buddy cops movie in space. Yeah. Which is what I really would like it. Because then if you just got these guys out on mission, they're on crew, it's like Guardians of the Galaxy. You know, it's a lot. It's like Lethal Weapon. You put a lot of things into it. I think it would be a real fun movie. But yeah, we'll see. As far as Tyrese, I like his passion. I like that he wants to do it. His acting, you know, isn't top notch, but I don't know if you need to if you're putting all these guys together. I think he has the look and everything, but yeah, Jon Stewart's more of a serious type.
I was gonna interrupt you, but yeah, that's more Jon Stewart's MO. Is he's kind of the serious guy, and that's not Tyrese.
Yeah, so maybe
Tyrese isn't the crazy comedic guy either.
Yeah,
but he's kind of in the middle, more so comedic.
Yeah, I don't know if he has the chops to pull that off, but Chris Pine would have been a nice Hal Jordan. The Dan Embroyer guy, I mean, I don't know him much, but I think it's some weight to that rumor, just because someone of his caliber, you know, his popularity, why was he in BVS as a random drone pilot? Yeah. I don't think that adds up. So it might be some weight to that, but looking at him, he looks like Hal Jordan. I don't know how his acting is, but yeah, you could get some young talent. Like, you get like a Taron Egerton, and if he doesn't become Han Solo, the guy from Kingsman, you get someone like him, or, you know, like, it could be a good cast. Yeah. But as far as theories, it's tough. I don't think it's gonna be like a Dark Side, all that stuff. I think it's just gonna be like a cop movie, like introducing you to the core through that.
There'd be a lot to introduce you, plus Dark Side, or a bigger picture kind of thing.
If it still is, because it's the last one in phase 1, so maybe they set up the next big bad, and then, you know, they have to be the ones to warn the rest of the Justice League at the end of it. Oh. All right, so that is the episode. If you like what you heard, this camera is just weird. I can't get used to it. But if you like what you heard, you want more of the canon, give us the ammo by clicking the subscribe button below. Sal, where can people find us?
Find us on Twitter at The Canon Vlog or on Facebook, facebook.com/The Canon.
And if you heard it here, it is canon.
Taps into the Speed Force, goes to some other dimension in Justice League. Flash is where you tell that story of where he went and how he's gonna save Justice League, or the Justice League and Justice League Part 2.